Okay, so let's jump in a time machine and head back to 2011. An industry report out of India captured the very beginning of a huge shift in the world of beauty. And what's wild is just how perfectly it predicted the clean beauty movement that has completely taken over today.
I mean, it's a question we ask ourselves all the time now, isn't it? We're all flipping over bottles, scanning ingredient lists, looking for those little certification logos. But here's the thing, this feeling, it's not new. This report shows that over a decade ago, this exact same powerful shift was already getting started.
And this quote from the report, it just nails the mood back then. People were getting, well, a little suspicious of all those complicated chemical sounding ingredients, and they started looking around for alternatives that felt simpler, more natural. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with that skepticism, then figure out what herbal actually means. We'll look at the incredible market boom it caused, get our hands dirty with a recipe you can make in your kitchen, and then wrap it all up with the big takeaway. So let's dive into that first point, the chemical question. This entire movement really kicked off with a fundamental change in awareness. People simply started paying a lot more attention to what they were putting on their skin every single day. The report really points to this clear divide that was starting to happen in the market. It's like you had two teams lining up. On one side, you've got synthetic chemicals, and people were getting worried about side effects and allergic reactions. And on the other side, herbal, natural stuff, which was seen as being way more gentle and eco-friendly. Suddenly, consumers had a real choice to make. Which brings us right to nature's answer. I mean, if people are turning away from synthetics, what are they turning towards? So let's get a really clear definition of what this report is talking about when it says herbal cosmetics. The definition is actually pretty simple. We're talking about products made from plants and other natural things. And this covers the whole spectrum of personal care, right? Everything from your shampoo to face packs to hair oils, all with a focus on ingredients that come directly from nature. And the report lists this incredible range of ingredients. You've got stuff you'd find in any kitchen like turmeric and basil, but also these amazing traditional Indian remedies, things like neem, which is known for being antibacterial, and amla, a kind of gooseberry that's just packed with vitamin C. It's almost like a giant natural pharmacy. Okay, so you have this big shift in what people want, and you have this natural alternative ready and waiting. But what did that actually do to the market? Let's get into the numbers and see just how massive India's green beauty boom really was back in 2011. This shows it wasn't some overnight fad. The groundwork for this was being laid decades before by pioneers like Shahnaz Hussain. By the time 2011 rolled around, this niche had gotten so big that the report actually calls herbal beauty the main engine driving growth for the entire industry. That's a huge deal. All right, let's put a number on it. In 2011, the Indian herbal industry was worth 7,500 crore rupees. Now, to put that in perspective, a crore is 10 million, so we're talking about a market that was worth well over $1 billion at the time. A big number, for sure, but what's really staggering is where it was headed next. Get this. The report projected that the market would double to 15,000 crores by 2015. That's over $2 billion. Think about that. Doubling $1 billion market in just 4 years? That is absolutely explosive growth. To put it another way, that's a growth rate of over 20% year after year after year. It just shows you how incredibly powerful this consumer demand for natural products had become. But it's also important to see the whole picture. At that exact same time, the overall cosmetics market was still dominated by the giants, brands like Pond's and Lakme. And this is what makes it so fascinating. The herbal boom was this huge disruptive force, carving out a massive new space for itself in a really established industry. Okay, so let's zoom in from these massive market trends to something super practical. The report actually included DIY recipes, which I think is so cool. It just shows how accessible and down-to-earth this whole movement was. So let's walk through how to make one. We're going to break down the recipe for a simple, all-natural lotion for fighting pimples, taken straight from the pages of this 2011 report. The ingredients are unbelievably simple. You've got camphor lotion, which has that nice cooling property, tomato juice, which is a little acidic and helps with oiliness, and honey, which is a great natural antibacterial. That's it. Simple stuff you might already have hanging around your kitchen. And the process is just as easy. You mix them all up into a paste, you put it on your face for 15 minutes, and then you wash it off. It really demystifies the whole thing and shows the practical, homespun roots of this entire herbal beauty trend. So, we've looked at the consumer mindset, we've seen the mind-boggling market numbers, and we've even looked at a DIY recipe. Let's zoom back out. What is the big, lasting takeaway from all this? Why does this 2011 report still feel so important today? You know, this quote from the pioneer Shahnaz Hussain really says it all. The key point is the empowered customer. When people become aware of what's in their products and the potential effects, they demand change. It's really a story about how knowledge drives the market. So, if we boil it all down, here's what we've got. First, consumer awareness is probably the most powerful force for change in any industry. Second, using natural ingredients is not a new fad, it has incredibly deep historical roots. And finally, this whole global clean beauty trend we're living in today, it's been building for a very, very long time. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This look back at 2011 shows us a market right on the edge of a natural revolution. It really makes you wonder, as we all search for the next big thing in beauty, maybe the best ideas have been here all along,